So here's your heads up to this 5-minute quickie, which is about 15 or so minutes, because they always are, aren't they? It's all about, well, it's not all about another gardening metaphor. That's the whole point. But that's the point you're going to have to listen to, because that didn't make sense, but I will in a minute.
Warning.
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 Warning. You are entering into the unplugged mind of Paul Clough. Too late. Personal Development Unplugged.
Hi guys, welcome back to the Personal Development Unplugged podcast, the 5-minute quickie. Well, here's the thing. Over the last few days, in fact few weeks, I've been having a little bit of a problem. I've had some issues with like pulling muscles and hurting myself in that way. And that's given me time where I have to stop and think, because I couldn't do an awful lot sometimes. I was getting frustrated, and that made me think even more. And I was trying all these different things to either alleviate the pain or quicken up the healing. And I got to thinking, where the hell am I? What's causing all of this? And that got me to think even deeper, and deeper in a different way. And I wrote some notes down. And the notes is all about the gardening metaphors that we hear. Life is like walking down that same downtrod path in all the weeds and that, and we walk this same direction every time. We don't look right to left. We don't see that much. And yet, if we took another path, the right path, not the left path, but the right path, see what I'm doing there, hear what I'm doing, we would then start to make another pathway. Not another neural pathway, would we, Paul? Well, we might be. And the more we walk down that right path, that path begins to get more permanent, and the other one starts to grow back and disappear. That's a wonderful metaphor for, thinking about changing your direction. And it works. And there was another metaphor that came to mind, and this was created by, well, whether it was created by him or not, it may be an urban myth, but I know he used it a lot. And it was a guy called Milton Erickson, a wonderful hypnotherapist. And he used this metaphor for people who, well, it started off, I guess, being overweight. And it was all about tomato plants. And supposedly the story goes that this lady came to see him. She loved growing things, especially tomatoes. So he took what's in her world, as we do, entered the model or the client's model of the world, and talked to her about tomato plants when she was seemingly not in a trance, but obviously she disappeared in a trance. And as he talked to her about how wonderful a tomato plant would be as it grows, it would know just the right amount of nutrition to take on, the right amount of water to take in, just the right amount, never overfeeding itself, and always feeding itself the right amount and looking after itself. And then she went away thinking, well, what a plonker really, because all he did was talk to me about tomato plants, and I wasn't in a trance anyway. Thought he was a hypnotherapist. And then over time, she began to change, because she started taking on the right amount of nutrients and right food, doing the right things, nipping things in the bud, side shoots and things like that. Weird, isn't it, how a story can change our lives? And then there was the little story I told a little while ago about, do you remember that garden, the garden in the desert? And the spiritual guy comes along, knocks on the door and says, oh, what a wonderful garden. You must be really pleased that God's created this. And the guy just said, well, yeah, I really am pleased, but you should have seen it when God just had it by himself. So there's all these wonderful metaphors of helping us to change. But we're going to just stop for a moment. We all know that those messages are good, aren't they? And I'm sure I will use them again. But I wanted to stop and look at the actual story, the story in front of our eyes. Look outside at the plants, the trees. A seed, it just wants to grow. You can't stop it from growing, because that's what it does. It's here to grow. And most of them, I say most because you can't generalize everything, but most of those seeds and plants and trees, that's plant is a tree, I guess, a tree is a plant, just know exactly what to do. Sometimes they do need a little bit of help, but generally, out in the wild, they know exactly what to do. Looking at plants and animals in the wild, they adapt. They adapt to the changing seasons, the changing environment. They make changes. They are, evolution. They evolve. They make the changes necessary. Maybe that's in their DNA. I'm sure it is, just like the plants. Now, you might say, this is all very lovely, Cluffy, but where the bloody hell are you going with all this? We've heard these metaphors before. Yeah, you reminded me. Maybe I've just reminded you about how a seed needs to grow. That's not a metaphor, it's a fact. You know about animals changing for the seasons. Plants change with the seasons. They adapt with the changing environment. But the thing is, that's you too. And this is what I've been thinking about in my little times of just having to sit still for a little while. It doesn't matter what you want, you are going to grow. And that's inevitable. So you too have to grow. You will grow. And the thing is, like some of those plants, sometimes you're going to need a little bit of help. Sometimes you need to change the soil, keeping on the metaphor, which is maybe change your environment as things change. Or you may have to react differently to that environment. You need to evolve to your environment. As you change, the environment will change. We've talked about that before. You need the correct amount of nutrients, food, energy, water. Not too much, not too little. But, just like plants, any being, we need that right amount of energy. And also we need the right amount of rest. And also, like all things, I guess, we need caring. We need caring for. And I'm still on this sort of metaphor thing, but here's the thing. This is what I've been thinking about, is, we are growing. And I always tell my clients, we're here on this world. Or we may have started this adventure in this world, this lifetime, to grow and just learn. Grow, learn, and make a difference. Maybe the make a difference is me adding it on, but, to do something, follow our mission, have a path, have a vision. But we're growing. But the thing is, do you have a plan? Do you have a plan on assisting your growth? Maybe some people might call it a ritual, a plan that's going to enable you to grow and grow in the right direction. Go back to the metaphor of plants. Sometimes if we don't nip things in the bud a little bit, the plant will go scraggly, if that's a word, scraggly, thin. But if we nip out those side shoots and have a direction, it seems to get stronger, bigger, bolder, being able to survive the elements, the environment. So my question is, and there was more a question to myself, I guess, did I really feel that I was either living the plan that I had, or did I really have a plan? Do I have a plan for my mind and body to grow? Mentally, emotionally, spiritually, in my body, my physical body, my health. Because if you don't, I was thinking, what's going to happen? What's going to happen if we don't have a plan? Well, we'll continue to grow, but in what direction, I wonder? Turn that on its cheek, if that's what you do, on its head, the other side of the coin. What would happen if you did have a plan to grow mentally, emotionally, spiritually, in your body, in your health? That's just the question I've been thinking about myself. We know the answer, but knowing the answer is not always the case, is it? We know what we should do. It's a matter of, and this is the bit where I got to my meta heading for all of this, is we need to stop, I think, sometimes, and just consider where we are in our growth and decide, is it where we want to be? Are we on the right path? Are we taking on the right amount of nutrients, the learnings? And are we looking after this person who we are, so we can make the very best of this time on little old planet Earth, this lifetime. If maybe it's only the one lifetime we're going to get, and if it is, I think we ought to just stop and decide and consider. Or we'll do it the other way, because that's like aim, fire, steady, or whatever it is. Stop and consider where we are, what we're doing, and just set a plan in motion, even if it's a plan to plan better, to take time out to think, to measure our progress, to do that 5 keys to success. You'll have to look that one up. I'm not going to tell you again. I will later. But the thing is, if you did stop, if you did start to consider where you are, and you did decide to change, because we are going to change, you can always make yourself one bit better. How's that going to make you feel when you do that? How empowered are you going to be when you begin to just evolve and follow this wonderful path that you're put on this earth for? Start to get the results, the richness of your dreams, your goals. So I think it's really, the one reason that this was so important to me was, and I have it in most of my lower thoughts, is don't or not to waste time, or not to waste our potential. Now, it's easier to say your potential is infinite, and it bloody well is, by the way. It's easier to say, but just because it is, doesn't mean to say we're just going to use it. We have to plan to use it, I guess. So that's my little call to action to you. Maybe just take 5 minutes and stop and just notice, do you really have a plan to grow, and how you want to grow, and where you want to grow to? What are your dreams, goals? And do you have a plan for your mental well-being, your emotional well-being, your spiritual well-being, your body, your health? Because if you haven't, you need one, I guess. And if you have, is it working? Could you improve it? Yes is the answer to that. Of course, we can improve everything. And I like to think I know a lot, not know, but do a lot of this. And then when I sit down and think, bugger, Paul, you're not doing all the things you could do. And that's just being a human being. But it's being a human being, we can stop and decide. Consider and decide what we want to do. And then take that massive intuitive action, because we've sat and listened to ourselves, thought for ourselves. And boom, that's when we make that real difference. Difference to us, difference to the people in our lives, and a difference to the environment, this little planet Earth. Anyway, they were just my thoughts that I had while I was going through this little bit of, my body is just not reacting the way I want it to react. And that made me think, have I got that plan for my body properly? Things are going, because when one's out of kilter, maybe there's something else out of kilter that's causing it. Because we all know when you have a problem with your body, maybe you're, compensating or overcompensating on a different part of your body. So maybe I'm thinking, and I'll continue to think, am I compensating or overcompensating or not doing enough on my mental, my emotional, my spiritual, or my health? All those sides of me. So maybe you just take that time out, if you would. Maybe it's of interest to you. Maybe it's not. Maybe you think it's all BS. But who knows? That's the way I'm feeling. That's the way I'm going to start thinking. And maybe you'll find that the podcast will change slightly because of my growth and your growth. And when you do notice the growth you made, I'd love to hear from you. Let me know the type of things that you have grown in your mental, emotional, spiritual, and in your health. I'd love to hear them. And if there's any issues you're having around those areas, let me know too. Because then we'll use one of those as a subject matter, just like we did with Will's. And we'll really dive deeply in it to make sure that we can find ways to just grow together and have a good time bloody doing it. Because that's what it's all about, isn't it? Having fun. Having more fun than we can stand. Feeling happy for no reason. I said feeling very strong, weirdly then, didn't I? Feeling happy for no reason. Anyway, let me know. Feedback at personaldevelopmentunplugged.com. Till next time, thank you so much, my friend. Bye-bye now. Just before you go, if you've just got a second or two, please have a listen. Why don't you share this? Share this podcast with just one person today, and then one person tomorrow, and one person after that. What would happen if we all did that? And why not subscribe? It's so easy to do. Find the platform of your choice. If it's iTunes or it's Castbox or any others, there's loads of them.
search for either Paul Clough or Personal Development Unplugged, and then there's a big subscribe button. Press that subscribe button and it'll be there. You get the podcast twice a week, on a Wednesday and a Saturday. Never have to look any further. And if you would, why not put one of those reviews up? Because that would be awesome, because that just moves it around this integrated field of learning, as it were, and becomes and gets in front of other people. Which is what we want, isn't it? To be the change we want to see in others and help others change to be the change they want to see in themselves. There you go. I'm going to speak to you real soon. Hope you enjoyed it. Have fun. Enjoy every heartbeat.
Warning, you are now leaving the unplugged mind of Paul Clough. It's time to fly on your own. Be brave, my friend.
Personal Development Unplugged.